Well, good morning, Mr. Branch.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh my God. Great. Recovering. Had a little my fam over, my sibling, a couple of my siblings and frat brothers. So last night, so we just taking it slow on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate you taking the time out to talk with me this morning.
My pleasure.
In all viewing world, we all appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I know that there's a lot going on, and it's a holiday, so we'll try to keep this brief. But you have got a lot to share. So don't hold back. But
sure. For sure.
So the conversation that we're talking about today is on co-parenting exes. Those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Corinne Collins. I'm a single mom of 3 in Waukegan, Illinois. I have had some experiences that unfortunately make me a little bit of an expert in the field, I'd say. But for me, unfortunately, a lot of my story was doing things the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where this book stemmed from, Co-Parenting Exes, putting it into the fuck you conversations. And basically it just talks about being able to keep the peace and, trying to have those peaceful relations that we hope for at the very least. But you have actually been able to do something beyond that. Not only have you been able to, do what we all want to do, but you have some pretty amazing children that have been the results of this. So, without getting into it myself here, if you could just share a little bit about your situation, your story, I would love that.
Okay. Myself, from Chicago originally, here in Arizona, Phoenix at this point, and was married, had 2 beautiful children, and we divorced, and it was, as amicable as a divorce can be, so we didn't have too much craziness, which is good. And our 2 children are awesome and brilliant. And my son, Harold Gregory Branch IV, we call him Quattro. And then our daughter, Ella Lene, he's 11 and she is 7. And we have been able to co-parent, in such a way that gives them the best chance at success. One of the things, even if, the marriage failed, one of the things that we had in common is focusing on the kids and, making them they're the main priority, period. We both had to move the next generation forward. You know what I'm saying? They're both our bloodline, our lineages. So that's the one thing that, we agree on 99% of the time is to put them forward. So we've been able to do really well at that. Not that it has not had its challenges, but, sacrifice and everything else, you know what I mean? If
okay.
you want to do anything for your kids, you want to do anything for them, even deal with someone that, it may be difficult to deal with, right? And take some L's and take some sacrifices so that the kids can have peace of mind. And the kids are doing great. Ella, 7 years old, started 4th grade, already skipped 2 grades. Immediately in 4th grade, tested out 4th grade English, math, and just a week ago tested out a 5th grade English. So
wow.
Once again, 7 years old, so she's killing it, ballet, piano, different things, extremely funny, extremely happy, right? When I talk about how smart they are, people wonder if they're happy if we beating them over the head or not, to do the work. Nah, these are joyful, happy, and they're still kids. Actually, more kids than a lot of kids I meet these days. You know what I'm saying? So they're just they're old school 7 and 11-year-old kids, goofy and everything else. My son is brilliant in his own right. Took the ACTs when he was 9, scored a 21 on those. Just took the practice SATs, and with no prep or anything, just kind of throwing them in there, and scored a 93 in the 93rd percentile for that, 98th percentile for math. So they're both extremely sharp on math and things of that nature. So he's good at sports, and so he's real well balanced. Both of them very social, got great social relationships, leadership, all that good stuff. So we're real proud of him. But that wouldn't be possible if me and their mama was fighting all the time, even when you want to. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't be possible. They would have that on their mind and in their soul. So our thing is, and the way I see it, the way it makes sense in my mind, because we are two very different people that just even think differently, you know, the way we process information. And the way that it makes sense to me is, you know, nurture and protect, you know, do those two things. So everything falls into one of those two categories as far as moving that agenda forward. We nurture them, you know, through extra schooling, extra help, extra support, and we protect by keeping them away from garbage. You know what I'm saying? Keeping them away from adult problems, stuff like that, that their minds just can't, and their hearts just can't digest at this point. So, yep, in a nutshell, that's what's going on.
Excellent. So now you talked a little bit about, you know, being different. So it sounds like you've taken part in some fuck you conversations. Am I right to say that?
No, we don't have
that.
No.
Wow. So tell me, what is the secret? I mean, you talked a little bit about that, but what is it that you would say is the key to being able to avoid those interactions? You know, I mean, you gave us a lot there, but I just wanted to kind of stand out if there's any one point. Because, see, the reason why we're having this conversation is because a lot of people are not able to get out of that, get themselves out of the way, or, you know what I'm saying, to do that. So what
we got to understand is, imagine the two people you love on the planet the most, whoever they may be. Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your kids, right? Maybe it's a sibling and a child, whatever. The two people you love most on this earth, you would die for, right? You live for them. Imagine if they hated each other. How would that affect you emotionally? Our kids love us the most, like we're their parents. For us to hate each other does something to them psychologically. Something they wouldn't, as an adult, I wouldn't be able to handle it. If my son and my daughter hated each other, it would keep me up at night. I would be devastated by that. Why do we think kids are okay with it? You know what I mean? And I didn't grow up with my mom or my dad. Okay. We both grew up in broken home scenarios. She grew up with a great mother, which is awesome, but she didn't really grow up with her dad around. And so we both are committed to making sure we're happy that our kid has both. So I would never want to affect that interaction between them two. And I realize that whatever I say or do, eventually I'm going to have to answer to my kids for that shit. You know what I mean? Excuse my language. Right. But when they're older, 16, 17, 18, they're going to be like, yo, why did you talk to her that way?
Right.
Why did you call her that? I'm going to have to answer for it. And I need to be able to have a good answer. I pride myself on not having an answer for nothing like that. And I'm not starting today. And, you know, she doesn't, you know, push it to that degree or what have you. We've had our moments. And the thing is, we never have a moment together. One of us say, you know what, I'm going to walk away from this. It doesn't go there. We never did the name calling, even in our divorce. You know what I mean? Some things you can't come back from.
Right.
Some things you can't come back from. And we just need to learn more discipline and control. We don't do it at work. And they earned it. They disrespect us more than anybody in our life. So if you can control it at work, you control it at home. And you act like an adult and don't, you know, get into the name calling and this or that. And if somebody does, then we can't talk. Get it together. We've had moments where we've had to communicate through email because it was just too hot. You know what I mean? Okay. So you just got to know where you're at. Know where you're at. Know that you're about to blow and know when to walk away so you don't. You know what I mean? People justify stuff with anger. I'm hurt. I was mad. So it ain't about you. Once you have kids, it ain't about your feelings no more. You know what I mean? It's people in jail because they did something when they was mad, and they in jail for 10 years. So you think being mad or being drunk or being upset or being hurt, that don't justify. It don't mean what you did goes away once you feel better. You know what I mean? So you just got to understand that and be mature on that. And I do that. I keep my kids in mind. I understand no matter how I feel, right? And we got a good relationship. We got a decent relationship. But, even if it does take a left or take a right, you know what I'm saying? I keep in mind, my kids love that woman. She takes care of my babies. She's part of the reason why they're as amazing as they are. For that alone, she deserves my respect. If nothing else, she deserves my respect, and she's going to get it. You know what I mean? Obviously, you can't let yourself get walked over, get abused. I don't believe in anybody allowing themselves to be abused, right? But thank God that that's not the case. And then you got to ask yourself, would I rather be right or would I rather be happy? That's a big question. I don't need to be right all the time. You got it. You could take the lead. Go ahead. Do your thing. Does that make sense? Like, I don't need to win in every conversation. It's not for me to win. It's not my relation. I'm not in a relationship anymore. So I don't have to argue this. I could walk away. I live somewhere else. You know what I mean? But I want to keep that peace so my kids see honor and respect. It's not enough for me to just not curse her out. The kids need to see that I'm supportive. That it's not enough to not be an enemy. Right?
Yeah.
I would like her to be successful and happy because they're with her so much. If she's not happy, she's not content, and all that stuff. Once again, as long as it's reason, we're all being reasonable, and thank God she is. Then my kids are depressed. You know what I mean? Our kids get affected by where we are, so I want to contribute to that joy. You know what I mean? Like I make Thanksgiving dinner. We all eat dinner together. If I barbecue, I put some away, take it over to their house for her and her mama. You know what I mean?
You don't poison it.
His grandma. You know what I mean? It's cool. If all I got to do is little gestures like that, so my kids can have a happy childhood, then why not? When we got divorced, the teachers used to say, "I didn't even know y'all wasn't together anymore." Like they divorced, the kids did not miss a beat.
Okay.
They did not. They just knew they had one house. Now they have two houses. That was their transition. You know what I mean? That was their transition for the most part. So it's all been worth it. It's been hard. It's been tough to swallow. A lot of pride swallowing. But when my 11-year-old is acing that SATs, it was worth it.
Right.
Yeah. It's all good.
Yes.
Sometimes we go off on stuff and can't remember what we went off about a week later. Don't even remember what it was. So it's not about this person. If it was just a relationship, then that's different. Cuss them out. Go off. But it's a third party. And I always say the first step to good co-parenting is picking the right parent.
Oh.
That's the first step.
It is,
what I mean?
though. It really is.
It's the first step. I picked somebody I knew. I had she passed all the good mother stuff. The commitment, the passion, the desire, educated, focused, disciplined, all that. Knew she would be loving, committed, knew that she was committed to them having a father in their life. So no matter what happened to us, she would never get in the way of that. We live 10, 12 minutes from each other and always have. So I could get there at the drop of a dime if it goes down or if it's needed and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And we decide where we live based off of the school. Okay. So it's not a convenience for me per se, convenience for her. So the school, we talk about routes and things like that. Okay, let's consider this, let's consider that. So it's really a team effort. She's my business partner. She's, you know what I mean, if nothing else. Okay. But picking the right parent, that's where people go wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So that means you got to consider who you date, who you're not using protection with, all these things. You be cavalier with it, you end up connected to somebody absolutely insane for the rest of your life. And then wonder, why they're not taking care of their kid. They had 3 kids that wasn't taken care of. When you went to their house wasn't taken care of. Their bathroom was dirty as hell. And you wonder why they not raising your kids the way you expected them to. You had all the signs, but you couldn't get past that immediate gratification and messed around and had a kid with somebody that was already a bad parent when you met them, how dare you be shocked? People got to start taking responsibility for their choices in the other parent. Now, obviously, sometimes, you know what I mean, you just get fooled and they just totally flip a script on you, right? But more often than not, you knew they was bogus. You knew they was bogus, and you still did it.
So, you talked a little bit about, your business partner being your co-parent. Talk to us a little bit more about the effect that your lifestyle, your work has played in the role of raising your children.
Yeah. So she's an educator. She's a teacher. So she has the traditional time frame. I work from home and work for myself. So I create my time. I haven't had a traditional job in 10, 11 years. That's played a major role in the co-parenting, being able to get the time and stuff. Because we don't do just, you're here this week, you're not here next week kind of thing. I know sometimes that has to be the situation because of schedules and work and just trying to find something amicable. But for what we wanted for our kids, that didn't work because I'm not willing to not see them for a week. She's not willing to not see them for a week. And because I do a lot of work in business at night, in the evening, they may spend the night at her house more often, but I get up every morning. When we first got divorced, I was getting up at 5 a.m. every morning to go to her house so she could leave for work. And then I wake the kids up, iron their clothes, make breakfast, and take them to school every day. I did that for 4 years, and then it went to 5:30 because she got a later schedule, and then to 6 o'clock. And it wasn't until this past May when her mom moved in where I didn't have to wake up that early anymore. But I still take the kids to school every day. So we both see the kids every day. I take the kids to school. I pick them up from school every day, unless I'm out of town.
How important do you think that is, the everyday interaction?
Crucial. Kids aren't as devastated by the breakup or the divorce. They're devastated by, I used to see both parents every day, and now I don't.
Okay.
I don't get you every day anymore. You know what I mean? And that was our theory going into it, and decided that wasn't going to be the case. You know what I mean? It's rare when they don't see me for 3-4 days. I'm out of town, usually when that's the case. But I think it's been crucial for our household, and it was possible. I do understand in many scenarios that's just impossible. But, like, she would rather, I'm sure, we would probably rather move, live in different states. You know what I mean? You decide, I don't want to go somewhere else. We can't leave. It's not for us. So there's no living in and out of state, not an option. There's no moving an hour away from each other. No. So we got certain parameters where it's like, no, that's going to mess up the flow and the synergy of the thing. And guess what's more important than you living in the little city you want to live in is them getting what they need for these next few years. Well, you got to do it for a few more. Then it's a wrap.
Right.
Once the kid's 16 and driving, things change, right? It's not even until they 17, 18. Once they 16 driving, you know what I'm saying, 15, permit stuff. The older they get, I heard someone say that 90% of the time you spend with your child will be before the age of 12. 90% of the time you spend with your child will be before they hit the age of 12 because they're so dependent on you. You're all the time. But as they start to grow independence, now they're walking in the door, waving, going into their room. You're not spending nearly as much time with them. So that time up to 12 is fundamental, crucial, and I'm not going to miss it. And they'll never say Daddy wasn't there, and they'll never say Mama wasn't there. You know what I mean? We'll be there. And when we can even be there together, holidays and things like that, we'll do that too. I'm wrapping gifts. I'm going to take them to their mama house in the morning. And they're going to do the gifts. I'm not going to not see them open gifts. She's not going to not see them open gifts. So it look like we're doing this together. That's pretty much how it would come about. I'm not missing it. She'd be like, I'm not missing it. Then, cool. I'll make something to eat. I'll bring some food over. Bring the gifts over. Let's do it. So, like I said, it's not always that possible. Sometimes it's a volatile scenario. And you can't do it, but if you can, try to make it as about them as possible. And sometimes you need to let some stuff go, right?
Right. Okay. And then, you know what, I know I didn't really prepare for this, but this was something that a lot of people actually had reached out to me, and I'm seeing some messages that I've gotten while we're talking about fathers' rights in particular. This has been, I expected it to be more women that responded, because it maybe sometimes seems like we're more vocal. But I've had a lot of guys reach out to me, not knowing what direction to go in, feeling really helpless because they're the non-custodial parent. They don't know what to do. What advice would you give somebody in that situation?
Yeah. Fight for your child. There's a couple things for a lot of men and a lot of women that use this as use the courts as a weapon. That's their threat, is the courts. Times are changing. There are a lot of single fathers, and the mom is nowhere to be found. There are a lot of terrible mothers and fathers trying to be engaged. And more often than not, if a mom, the guys that don't want to be involved, the women don't treat them like trash. But the guys that want to be involved, they use it as leverage against them. So often. It's sad. I see it all the time. Yeah. So it's a couple things that you got to be real clear about. You don't want war at all. You don't want war. But be willing to fight for your baby. Do not be afraid of the courts. And stay reasonable. Be able to say, I didn't ask for anything unreasonable. I'm not trying to provide. You can't be and it's about sacrifice. You can't be at the club every weekend buying bottles and then complain. Be prepared to pay for everything for the child. It's for your child.
Yeah.
So I tell, and the way she thinks and the way I think is, if it goes down today, I need to be able to provide completely by myself.
Yeah.
She thinks the same way. Not that one of us is going to run, but what if she lose her job? I'm going to kick her in the ribs about that. I'm going to kick her while she's down. I'm going to beat her up over that. Right? What if my business just totally tanks? She going to destroy me for that? No. We, as a parent, you have to be prepped. And not nickel and diming situations. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not providing, you need to figure it out, fam. Fathers don't get to not provide. That's just not an option. So, and I'm not saying provide to the degree that they're trying to tell you need to, but you know when you're doing right and when you ain't.
Right.
So be confident in that. Once you're confident in that, do not be afraid of the courts. If that's how we got to go, that's how we got to go. Because fathers' rights are getting respect all over the country. They're not just saying, what's the mom, just go with the mom anymore. They're saying, what's the most stable scenario? And be willing to be an active parent. Go for 50-50. Go for 50-50. Be willing to be there when it's inconvenient, when they're sick, when, those are the times. Be willing to be that person, you know what I'm saying? And let it be, even if you're not winning the fight and they're winning the fight, maybe she got more money, maybe she's putting you through the ringer, maybe you just get a judge that is totally anti-men, right, which happens.
Yeah.
Write letters to your child. Document, journal the whole experience. So when they're older, they know I wasn't there, but I was trying every step of the way. I was fighting. I was doing my best. A child needs to know that a parent was fighting for them, right, that you did what you could. That will clean up if you're not there because you're losing that battle. Does that make sense? But get it together. If you bugging out, get it together. If your ego is in play, get it together. You can't stand the fact she got a new dude. Get it together. Hey, that's her life. She gets to have a dude. She gets to have a guy.
So yes.
she gets to lead a romantic relationship. You know what I'm saying? Or what have you, right? And you don't get replaced. If you're there, right? And once again, sometimes those emotions seep in, but if a biological father is trying to be a biological father, a woman that doesn't allow him to be that is destroying. You don't love your, record it, play it, you don't love your child as much as you claim to.
Oh.
If you're keeping a biological parent away that wants to be there and not, may parent different, but not harming that child, you don't love your child as much. You love you more than you love your child.
Yep.
That child needs that biological connection to a healthy person, whether you like him or not, whether you agree with his, his style or not. There's different styles. You know what I mean? You don't get to replace him with a new person because it's inconvenient. Shouldn't have had his baby. Same thing with the dude. Shouldn't have had a child with her, bro. You did that.
Yeah.
So we got to quit acting like we was forced into these romantic encounters. You know what I'm saying? You got to own that decision. You got to own that. You can't keep them away. That's bogus. And you do more damage to the kid. You don't even get to hit reset on that. It is what it is. And when you dismiss the other parent, women need to know this too, just like men. When you dismiss the other parent, disrespectful to the other parent, you're really telling your kid that half of them is BS. Half of them is garbage. Half of you is terrible. Yeah, that mother side of you, I hate it. Terrible person. What is that child supposed to grow up with now? How is that child supposed to have self-esteem now? Now they're looking for somebody who's going to validate all of them. And it won't be you. It'll be the knucklehead. Now your daughter's off left and your son is off going bogus, right? So that stuff is important. But that's what I would advise fathers that's getting frustrated. Have other fathers to listen to and talk to. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you know what? Like I said, you have had so much great information to share. I'm sure that people will have some specific questions for you because you're just a storehouse of knowledge, and I definitely appreciate you taking the time.
I'm passionate about it. This is just a topic I'm very passionate about and very honest about, and I think that sometimes we sugarcoat heavy situations, and we don't need to sugarcoat.
Speaking of sugar, question. I got to ask my petty question.
Okay.
To smash or not?
No.
Should co-parenting exes? No? Why?
No. You throw confusion into the situation. It was already emotional. You already defined it doesn't work, couldn't work. But when you throw that in, somebody is expecting more now.
Yeah.
And when more doesn't happen, now they're upset and they got things going on and it's tensions and it's this and it's that. No. Absolutely not. Unless y'all working to really make it work.
Yes.
And if that's the case, that's not smashing. You're courting again. You know what I'm saying? You start in that process, right? And if you're going to be involved romantically with the mother of your children, just make sure it's an example of how you want somebody to be romantic with your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
How you want somebody to deal with your son. And that's what we got to think about. Do I want somebody treating my son this way? Women, if a woman did to my son what I'm doing to his father in any way, would I be pissed off? Would I be like, that's not cool? You know what I mean? Same thing. So no smashing. You want to. Unless y'all trying to really work it out and be together, don't do it. Don't do it. It'll hurt the kids in the long run. Because what if they see you spending the night and you're over and then all of a sudden you're not no more? It sets them up. They thinking they finna get together and it drops them again. Not worth it.
Well, you know what? That's like a slam dunk right there. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really looking forward to, I know you do a whole bunch of stuff yourself.
Yeah.
You've got your books and your poetry and, of course, your business that's just exploding. So I'm definitely grateful that you have the heart that you do. You're, again, the storehouse of information, and that you're willing to lend a hand and to, share your experience with those of us who are still trying to figure it out. So, again, really thank you so much, Mr. Branch, for your time.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me. I hope it was helpful.
Absolutely.
All right.